Click links to join channel here over at subscribe. So I got a mailbox if you want to mail me some comics or anything. So the Disney Whistleblower claims the company systematically persecuted conservatives and compensated employees based on how woke they virtue signal with an image of She-Hulk on the front. So, gee, how well did She-Hulk do? Oh, well, one season. Oh, why didn't go 2 seasons? Because nobody watched it. Why didn't they watch it? Why? Because we owned the Chads who were, I guess, familiar with comic books by giving them exactly what they didn't want to watch. Oh, that's kind of weird because you're a publicly traded company. You would think you'd try to give people what they will pay for. No, that's the old Disney. So I mean, some stories you look at and you read, and they feel like they're in accord with reality, and this one seems very reasonable. So the competency crisis comes for Disney. Zero Hedge had a cool article about the competency crisis, and there are some books out about it because as the country heads into this period of history, people are noticing that things just aren't running as smoothly as when you had seems like a different generation were running things. Everything kind of worked a little bit better. Systems are failing, and repairing them is taking longer and longer because it seems like the people working to maintain those complex systems just aren't as capable as they used to be. And maybe people don't care as much because why knock yourself out when it feels like the country is kind of headed to failure anyway? Or people are at these companies and they're quietly quitting because as the administration gets more and more diversity, inclusion, equity type of human resources people, and they get more and more memos about just pointless things that nobody cares about, or seminars, things they have to attend where they're, Disney and Coca-Cola is telling them about how much they hate a certain group of people. Well, they're gonna quietly quit. They're gonna get less productive. They're not gonna knock themselves out. They're gonna find excuses, and everything in the company just starts running down. And you kind of look at the country. It's like that's what you're seeing. People are looking at America now and looking at it in the past, and the further back you go, it ran better, it was cleaner, safer, and more efficient, and now it's dirty, overridden with violent crime and looting, gangs, graffiti, and urban blight. There are homeless tent encampments in every city, and drug-addicted zombies who are openly, slowly deleting themselves, and nobody is doing anything about it. And every year it just gets worse and worse. Wow, what a dark video for Disney. It doesn't feel like a real country. It's more and more apparent it's just a commercial zone country where people are exploited and then thrown away when they can't be squeezed for taxes anymore. In Canada, they're encouraging them to go into a self-deletion booth instead of just fixing the problems that created a situation where people are so desperate that they feel they have no other options but to go get state-assisted to Soylent Green themselves. Sometimes you look around and you go, how did we get here? It's like the West has been taken over by lizard people who are intent on destroying it. Anyway, it's similar to what's happening in Disney with the diversity political commissars that have shifted over to from running a merit-based company to one that follows a Bolshevik ideology based on that Frankfurt School religion. They've been slowly getting rid of conservatives, Christians, or Euro-Americans in general, and replacing them with people hired on a diversity checklist. But the problem is the conservatives were hired on merit, and they were competent at their jobs, which is important when you're trying to actually accomplish a goal. Their replacements were not hired on merit. They were hired on their adherence to the religion of globalism, and as it turns out, they're less competent than their predecessors. Gosh, who would have imagined that? It doesn't cause an immediate collapse of the company. It causes a slow shifting to the left, where if everyone in the room who's coming up with ideas is an SJW, then that's going to be the kind of stories they want to see, and the people they're going to hire are going to be further and further left, and it's just going to continue to go in that direction. They're not trying to create stories that sell to the largest audience. They don't care about that. They feel they have a duty to push their far left-wing values. It doesn't matter if they start leaving the audience behind. Yeah, you look like you look like sand in the gears of a smoothly running company. They really don't care about the money, and it's an uphill battle to convince people of that. These people are as crazy as the Jim Jones Kool-Aid cult. One of their arguments I keep seeing from Disney in specifics is that they're leaving money on the table by not having like more non-white characters or gay kids and families as themes in the stories. So they're saying that they're going to chase this new audience with the assumption that the old audience is also going to be on board with those themes, but they're definitely not. Disney has made several woke films that are too diverse or gay and they lose money. So right there, their theory goes out the window, but they keep doing it. That's when you realize that this was all just a snow job to distract the shareholders. I think the biggest loss they had recently was that Panda movie about the Asian family in Canada that lost like $170 million because it was pushing values that the customer was not on board with. But the people who made it were so far left, and like there's no course correction at Disney. So Bob Iger did an interview the other day where he was talking about selling off the subsidiary companies, ABC and Fox, among a bunch of others, so that they could focus on their core, the films, streaming, and the theme park. Let me get to an image of her because it's a good shot of her eyes, which shows you the soul. Yeah, that is a real solid image. She's a kind of a hostile work environment, just wrapped up in one person. Um, so they wanted to focus on their core. We're going to focus on our. It's that the 1984 corporate speak about utilizing our most valued resources, the human resources, and focusing on our core values. It's like they say nothing in these statements, but it's just to release a press statement. But in Disney's case, it's to placate the shareholders. Selling off subsidiary companies to the tune of billions of dollars doesn't seem like a position from strength. And the thing is, the selling of Fox is interesting more so than any other company because of what it says about Fox. Because selling other companies, ABC seems like a neutral move because ABC hasn't changed really, other than all mainstream media post Trump has been in a decline for some reason. I mean, Trump was a huge amount, something to talk about, but also when he left, people left a lot of the mainstream media behind and they went to alt media, and Fox was huge, but then they got rid of Tucker Carlson, so it took a big hit from that. So selling ABC seems neutral. Selling Fox seems like you're getting rid of a company that now is closer and closer to MSNBC, ABC, CBS, CNN. They're so close where it's not a you don't have a juxtaposition company anymore. So I think I look at Fox. I think yeah, I'm not. I think you're going to be. I think you're just going to see a slow, steady decline because there's only like a couple of people left at Fox who people still watch. Tucker Carlson used to be a huge deal, and they got rid of him. And people realize, like, yeah, there's no right of center mainstream media. You have to go to the alt media, which is awesome because like the alt media is where you're gonna get real diversity of thought. You're gonna get something approximating the truth. And I mean that's why they got up the Nina Jankowicz and literally a ministry of truth. Wasn't there a book by Orwell about that? It's like, yeah, we're just headed towards just the darkest of days. So the send ammo, but the company has taken some huge losses, 223 across the board on the films, parks, cruise lines, and the Disney Plus streaming, all because they're going woke. They're willing to destroy Disney as long as they keep pushing Bolshevism until it implodes, and people are confused because they expect. Oh, and the copyright, I guess. No, that's copyright. The one of the intellectual property rights for Mickey Mouse is about to expire after like 100 years, so they're phasing out Mickey Mouse because people are able to use some aspects of it. It's like that's not really a big deal. Nobody's gonna write. There's no point in like trying to capitalize on an anthropomorphic mouse like Mickey when pretty much Disney is like all the association's going to be with Disney. So people are kind of confused because they expect cult members to dress in funny robes, smoke weed, and talk about space aliens or a comet that's going to fly by, and they're going to jump on board the comet. I forget the name of that cult. That was in the 90s. They don't expect a cult to look like a $150 billion company where the top 50 people are driving $200,000 sedans and living in gated communities, and you try to tell them like, yeah, these people are in a cult. They believe things that are not in accord with reality. These are very dangerous people. And everyone kind of like most people are sane. Most of us are us. We're sane, and we project are the reasonably prudent person in similar circumstances standard, the negligence standard. Because we're saying we're reasonable, we're calm, we're prudent, and we're projecting that on other people. But you can't project that on people who have this religion of Bolshevism, because they're not sane. They're following a different belief system. It's not in accord with reality. And so they're doing things that you, in your mind, you're trying to justify their their actions, and none of it's making sense, because your motivation is, oh, money, publicly traded company, dividends, share growth, stock price, and you're thinking, oh, just sell the customer what they want. You're just a pop culture entertainment channel. That's how you think, because you're normal and you're sane. That's not their motivation. And once like Sherlock Holmes, you toss out the things that don't make sense, what you're left with is probably the truth. They have a different motivation. And just because it's a $150 billion company doesn't mean they're not a cult. They very much are. Anyway, thanks to Cecil for the big box of comics, Teddy for the silver coins, Vegan, LG, and Anon for the comics, pocket knives, and all the other interesting items you've sent. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys all next episode. Yes? No? Can I shut this off? This phone case is just too damn thick.